Warm-Ups Live, presented by Total Wireless. I'm Dan Savage of OrlandoMagic.com, and we're getting ready for tonight's matchup between your Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks, which is taking place in Atlanta, and you can watch it live on NBC or Peacock. We're taking a live look at Jalen Suggs warming up. Expecting a lot out of Jalen tonight. He's been a great point of attack defender for the Orlando Magic throughout the early part of the season, and especially when you look at their last win against the Washington Wizards. Jalen had 5 steals, was disruptive all night, and I felt played a huge role in helping turn things around for the Orlando Magic and getting them going in the right direction. Magic head coach Jamal Mosley has been adamant that this team has to lean into their defense to fuel their offense, and that's what they've done over the last couple of games. And we've started to see the Orlando Magic defense revert back to their standard. And that guy right there, Jonathan Isaac, has played a big role too. We're seeing J.I.'s minutes increase and starting to see with him play with the defensive tenacity that we know he's capable of. He is the minister of defense for a reason, and we're seeing him do it on both ends of the floor. Now, this is an interactive experience, so fire your questions away. We'll be looking at YouTube, TikTok, etc., trying to answer your questions as best as possible. So get them all in there. Looking forward to see some of the comments. We got Freddie saying, let's go. We got Lamar with a go Magic. Kyle going, no Trey should be an easy win or not. Actually, Kyle, I think in some ways, not having Trey makes them a tougher defensive team. Normally when Trey Young's out there, the whole defense is based about rotations to protect him, hiding him in a corner. As the Magic try to dial him up on some of these pick and rolls, they're constantly worried about rotations and stuff like that. With him not in there, they can really rely on guys like Dyson Daniels, Kristaps Porzingis, Jalen Johnson to really attack the ball and be disruptive. So while offensively they lose one of their biggest playmakers and a threat down the stretch, as we saw in Orlando a couple weeks ago, I think defensively this actually helps Atlanta in this matchup. J Curve, Magic Minute checking in. Yes, J Curve. Exciting time, getting some national TV shine for the Orlando Magic. That's always good to see. Zigla, do you believe in Magic? Absolutely. I think one thing we've seen from the Orlando Magic over the last few games is that 3-4 game stretch where they were struggling was a bit of a fluke. Early season, working through some things. I think we're seeing the Orlando Magic team start to form that a lot of people expected at the start of the season. Blue, white, and black. Yep, those are the blue boys in blue. Love seeing that, especially in the new uniforms. Shelby, good evening. Good evening to you too, Shelby. Appreciate you joining in. Wade, just got your season tickets. Happy to have you as part of Loyal Blue. There is not a better time in recent Magic memory to be a season ticket holder than right now. You talk about a core group of guys under 27 years old that haven't even hit their peak yet. That's this Orlando Magic starting 5. They have a number of guys who I think are on the rise, some guys who are totally undervalued when you look at the national landscape and conversation. And I think it's something exciting to be a part of, and to get in on the ground floor like right now is a great move by you, Wade. Connor, talking about Franz's on-ball rate, I've seen a lot of that conversation going on, Connor, about Franz's on-ball usage rate. What I think a lot of people who aren't close to the team don't realize is a little bit of that is by design. Franz Wagner had a huge workload in Eurobasket, and do you want to tax him so heavily early in the season when you're preparing for an 82-game span, playoffs, and beyond, hopefully? So I think a little bit of Franz's usage rate is, 1, to get other guys involved, get them going, and then 2, to take it easy on Franz. You have to remember, 1, they just played 5 games in 7 days. 2, he's dealing with a little bit of a heel contusion that a lot of people aren't talking about because Franz won't talk about it. And then on top of that, just came off a lengthy Eurobasket schedule. So you won't hear that in the national narrative, but you will hear it on this show tonight. And I'm glad you brought that up, Connor, because that's in a lot of dialogue right now. Wade, talking about being a Magic fan whole life. Yes, let's pray for no injuries. That's the most important part of this regular season is being healthy going into the playoffs, because I think this Magic team has what it takes to make a lot of noise. Do I think Goga makes a three-pointer tonight? Well, that's hard to predict. But if we've seen anything with this Atlanta Hawks team, they will go into drop coverage at times, and they will try to take away the Magic's drives to the basket. So it is perfectly sensible that Wendell or Goga could hit a couple threes tonight. Jay Curve, hope Franz takes some time off this summer so he could break. I think, don't we all? But that guy is a machine. You could talk about wanting to take a break, but Franz is not built that way. Franz, if he had it to himself, would be playing basketball 24/7, 365. That's just the way that guy's built, and that's why we love him so much. And there's Franz Boogie right now, lacing him up with his headphones on. That's been his routine this year, warming up with those oversized headphones on. And whatever works. Hey, that guy looks filthy out there right now. He's been a beast. Lamar definitely should be a win tonight. I like the confidence, but this is going to be a tough one. And if we know anything about Orlando Magic, Atlanta Hawks battles, they're going to be crazy regardless of who's in the lineup. We saw a couple years ago what the Hawks were like with DeJounte Murray in the lineup and the crazy finishes that they had with the Orlando Magic. We saw a crazy one in Orlando this season. We saw the play-in tournament last year where the Orlando Magic beat the Hawks at the Kia Center, and Trae Young gets ejected down the stretch as he's dejected from not getting, to advance after that game, having to wait to a later round. So we know these Magic Hawk games are going to be crazy, and that's what you expect out of a division rival. Anytime you see the Magic play the Heat or the Hawks, you know you're in for something regardless of who's in the lineup. And I'm going to try to get that going. I'm getting some notes from my producer here that we're getting a lot of great comments in on TikTok. And unfortunately, my one device is not playing it, but that's okay because come in with multiple devices to handle the heavy requests by producer Jason Dewberry, who loves to be mentioned and doesn't want to just be hidden behind the scenes. All right, so I got TikTok going here too, and appreciate all those comments coming in. We got Adonis. Who else is watching the game tonight? I'm assuming a big audience. So that's one of these good things when you're on national TV. You have a lot of national media tuning in, so it's a perfect time to shine. We see these weird narratives come around about different players on the Magic, some of which people have agendas, etc., that they're trying to push. But a lot of that could get shifted by a big win tonight in front of a national TV audience. And one thing about NBC Peacock, they've done a great job of setting the table for a lot of these games. So looking forward to seeing some of that coverage tonight on NBC and Peacock. Just another way for the NBA to continue to expand and get back to some of those roots for people who grew up in the 90s, which I don't expect to see too much of on TikTok, but maybe we'll see in some of the YouTube comments as well. Dan Thompson, Franz and Paolo balling tonight. I believe that. And, they have some good defenders. Guys like Dyson Daniels going to be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. Routinely, that's what he's built on. Kristaps, if he plays, we didn't see him in the first game. He can be a great rim protector. But I expect big things out of Paolo and Franz. We're continuing to see them get more and more in tune with their teammates and into the flow of the season. And look, both those guys had 20-plus points in the first half last game. Only the second time that duo has done that in their careers together. And I think we'll start to see that statistic pop up more and more because that's a big value of having a guy like Jalen Suggs out there, a guy like Desmond Bane. It's really hard to bring doubles. And if you do, Paolo and Franz can hurt you. We've seen Paolo's double rate be among the highest in the league, and the Magic have found ways to make them pay. You look at the point totals they've put up through the top first 7 games of the season, 8 games of the season. They're the highest point totals in Orlando Magic history, matched for the highest. So they're getting the offensive output, just need the defense to be up there as well. We're seeing some badges being earned. Jeannie, excited to hear round ball rock for my Magic. Oh, Jeannie, I am totally with you there. When you hear that song, just brings me back, gives me goosebumps. I'm going to love hearing it tonight, especially going into an Orlando Magic game. Uh, that build up is among the best that there is in sports. Love, absolutely. Some people talking about some of the great things with Desmond Bane. Yes, I think Desmond Bane's three-point shot is going to continue to start to fall. But what you're already seeing with Desmond is the gravity that he commands. He is a tremendous three-point shooter. He has a long litany of history to reflect that. I think as guys and the team figures out how to get him more involved, we'll see those offensive numbers pop, but already making a huge impact with his ability not only to shoot the three, but drive and attack the rack as well. Seeing Wendell Carter out there warming up, this is always a homecoming for Wendell, and he's had some great performances here in Atlanta. He's got a lot of family and friends out there tonight. Sure, some of them he's waving to in the crowd. Big smile on Dell's face. I think one of the more underrated players on the Orlando Magic. I think what he does defensively gets so overlooked. To have a five that could switch out the way he does, there's a reason his rim protection numbers are among the best in the NBA when you look at different metrics. He's had a huge impact. And I think sometimes fans can get a little overlooked, when they look at that Philadelphia game and say, well, he's giving up lobs at the rim. Well, a lot of that had to do with the Magic's guards not being precise in the point of attack and them getting past their man and Dell having to make the tough decision. Do I go over and help and hope the rotation covers for me at the rim, or do I sit back and allow a floater to happen? And unfortunately, Philadelphia was converting on a lot of those and Dell wasn't getting a lot of help. And I thought there was some unfair criticism there, but it's been nice to see the last couple of games. The point of attack defense has been better. Dell has taken a step forward, and I think he's starting to get his flowers, and people around the NBA are starting to notice the high level of defense that Dell is playing at right now. Connor, do I do these every game? We do them in different fashions. I'll say that. So for these home games, you'll see us on Courtside Countdown. Kendra Douglas, the great Kendra Douglas, will be hosting. I'll pop on about a half hour before game time, and we'll get you caught up to speed. But stay tuned to the Magic socials because you never know what we're going to hit you with. There's always something good going on. Did I see the play where Jalen Suggs took the no-look three and missed? Yes. That is, what do they call it, a negative aura thing? I love it for Jalen because he has a rational confidence that every shot he takes is going in, that every play he's going to stop the opposing defender. And so I don't want Jalen to give that up. I don't think anybody does. So I hope he takes more no-look threes, to be quite honest with you, because I think more than often than not, they're going to go in and the team just feeds off him. But that was a funny moment. Is Kristaps still a threat? That's a good question. Has Kristaps Porzingis' best basketball been behind him? I think that's the question a lot of people in the league are really asking, not just with the Hawks, but around the NBA is, has he played his best basketball? Atlanta took a gamble when they made the trade with the Celtics that he is not, and that he'll be the type of, 3 and D, big number 5 next to Trey that'll be perfect at protecting the rim and yet still spacing the floor. We saw him in Eurobasket kind of revert to form, and then early in the season, it's been a little bit up and down. So I don't have the answer for you on that one yet. That's actually one of the things I'll be paying close attention to tonight. We got some negative aura comments. That's always funny. Orlando, my family didn't let that last long. I know, anytime you lose to the Hawks, you're going to hear about it. That's what family and friends are all about. We need more Jace Richardson, seen on TikTok. I think Jace Richardson's time is going to come. That's not something I would focus too heavily on early in the season. One of the things about Magic head coach Jamal Mosley is he makes players earn their time, earn their place into the rotation. Jace Richardson's going to be no different. But one thing that Jace has shown is when he gets on the court, he's going to make a difference on both ends. And what he lacks in size defensively, he makes up within heart. And so he's a guy I see as the season goes on, getting better with rotations, learning the team concept, and having a real impact down the stretch. So I mean, I wouldn't get caught up in the playing numbers early in the season. I think as time goes, he'll be on the court more and more as guys get rest, as guys go through different, hopefully minor ailments. He'll see time, and I think once he gets time, it's going to be hard for anybody to take it back. So I'm loving what I'm seeing at a Jace Richardson, and I think as the season goes on, we'll see more and more. You trust the vet more. Look, yes, that's why you bring in a Tyus Jones. He is a calming presence. And I think when you look at a team that's trying to mesh early in the season, having a guy like that is really valuable. So I think early in the season that's a little bit what it's going to look like, and then as time goes on, we could potentially see that change. Still going through the comments and feel free to ask more questions, YouTube, TikTok, etc. More than happy to continue to answer them. This is an interactive show, so the more comments, the better. Jalen Johnson is so good. Look, I don't know if that's a Hawks fan trolling or what, but he is good, and he's going to be at the top of the scouting report tonight. There's no question that since Trey's gone down, Jalen Johnson has stepped his game up. And so if you look at his numbers, over the last games, Trey being out, averaged over 22.5 points, 13 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 1.5 steals. He is going to be a focus, and if you want the Magic to be playing up to their defensive standard, it's going to start with limiting that guy. How much longer do we see Mo Wagner? Look, one thing we know about the Magic, if you've been paying close attention, they are not going to put a timetable on these things. That's not the mode of operandi here. That's not the way they go about things. What they're going to do is continue to look to make progress, have improvement, and everything I've seen from Mo so far in his individual drills, he's making great progress. And look, that guy's going to be itching to get back on the court, especially when you consider that in January the Orlando Magic are going overseas and playing in Germany. I know that that's the motivation behind everything for Mo Wagner is to get back on the court and be playing, and not only playing in that game, but being in good form by that game. So, just Magic fans, so you remember game time tonight, 8 p.m. How do you watch? This one's a little bit different than it's been in the past. This one's going to be exclusively on NBC and Peacock. If you're not about the national, media attention, you want to hear some of your local commentary, Jake Chapman will have the play-by-play on Magic Radio, 96.9 The Game. FM, you can tune into that. He'll have you covered. Jeannie, is Jalen still on a minutes restriction? Slightly, yes. He's working his way up slowly but surely. They're ramping him up. He hasn't played in back-to-backs yet. Still limited there. But Jeannie Richmond, yep, hopefully we get there. Play the song, agree. Love to hear that tonight. But Magic fans, as you see Dell warm up, we're going to start to pass this off. Make sure you tune in early to NBC because you're going to want to hear that Round Ball Rock song. You're going to want to hear all the coverage. And then, next game, get back into the normal flow of Angelo Sports Network with David, Jeff, and the gang. But this should be fun tonight. Should be fun one at 8 o'clock. Pregame starting at 7:30 on NBC, Peacock, etc. Make sure to tune in this one. I think the Orlando Magic are going to get revenge on the Atlanta Hawks for what happened earlier this season at Kia Center. If you like this, hey, make sure to share the word with your friends. We'll be doing a lot of these different things throughout the season, both home and away. And we'll have you back at home for the next game. We'll be on starting, perhaps as early as 5:30 with Coach's pregame press conference, going into some fun other interactive things. And then myself and Kendra Douglas will be joining you at 6:30 p.m. later in the week. So once again, Magic at Hawks, 8 p.m. on Peacock, and we'll see you next time.